We have a legislative program, we have lots of policy, and that will carry on for many years. But what we are now embarking on, literally in the next 6 to 12 months, is the second stage. So we also need what I call civic entrepreneurs, taking forward the idea of a social entrepreneur who operated in the social sector. The civic entrepreneur can come from the public sector, they can come from the private sector, they can come from the social sector. But what they care about is making it possible for other citizens to engage with these opportunities to transform education, to transform health, and makes it easier for them to do so. If you like, these people will be like the Bill Gates or the Steve Jobs of the big society. They took very complicated computing power and processes, where you had to learn how to do programming before you could use it, where you had to learn how binary code works, and turned them into interfaces, into platforms that make it very, very easy to engage with all of these opportunities. They created Windows, they created the iPad and the iPhone. They created means for consumers to start interacting with power. Even with our legal changes, the white papers we're creating in Parliament, these are still quite complex pieces of legislation. To take control of your neighbourhood is a very complicated process. How do we make it easier for citizens? Well, civic entrepreneurs have the ability and the skill, if we support them, to make those platforms more possible. Civic entrepreneurs will not only use technology, they could include business people who make their businesses a means by which citizens can take action. They include the community organizer who builds movements online and offline. They include the group that takes over the local pub or the post office that's closing down and turns it into a community hub in which you may have public and voluntary and other services co-located in the same space. But crucially, who write it up, who put it online to make it possible for every other community that wants to do that. So this is a kind of social and cultural phenomenon, and civic entrepreneurs are going to be the people that are going to make it happen, not politicians necessarily. I want to give a few short examples of some of the possibilities that this new approach, civic entrepreneurs and the platforms they create, could provide. This is a social venture, a social organisation in East London that's been developing a model recently. It's called the Good Gym. And the Good Gym is very interesting because, as you can see, it harnesses the power of the internet through a blog, and will over time have more technology to allow citizens to interact with each other and to book their gym session, if you like. And what the Good Gym does is it basically says, instead of doing it in a gym, in a commercial location, do it in the community. So 3 or 4 times a week, they'll round up, in a locality, a selection of people, young and old, and they'll do some running together, and then they will do something that services the community, perhaps for a charity or for the local school, lifting heavy items, perhaps lifting soil or compost in the allotment, or helping to fix the school roof. But they're also socially mixing. They are creating a sense of community in their local area. And they're using technology to come together. These are not people who sign up and every week I have to go and volunteer, religiously, as it were. They're doing it as a crowd, coming together when it's convenient for them. It's made easy for them. This is a platform that makes it easy for them to exercise, and in the course of exercise, to transform their society and to build community. What's interesting is this is a hybrid. You cannot tell whether this is a pure charity. It's not a pure business. It's not a pure part of government. It's not a government initiative. It is something literally that's been invented by a civic entrepreneur who's now franchising the model, and it's going to scale across the UK, and it may tap into the kind of funding that the Big Society Bank will offer to allow it to scale to a much larger. But this is an initiative particularly working with our police in the UK, where we're releasing crime data, where the crime happens in your locality, using Google Maps. You can see also there are videos there that local people can put up about their local area. Crucially, if you look at the top right, there is a data page, and to use a kind of technical term, we're also making it available for software developers to take this data using common protocols and to create applications, perhaps applications in their mobiles or on the iPhone or other devices that can use the information and turn it into visualizations or into locality triggered applications, all kinds of inventions that we don't even know what possibilities that they can create to make this very complex data usable by citizens in their locality. And of course, this ability to allow citizens to innovate, to take this data and mash it up, is potentially possible in every sector, in health, in education, you know, this is a revolution, if you like, in using information technology. Now, of course, we want to make sure that those who are not online are able to access this opportunity as well.